Chapter 11, The Mic and the Moment. Downtown Nashville pulsed with neon lights and the low thump of music pouring out of every bar on Broadway. It was a Friday night, busy, loud, alive, the kind of night that made Sam feel like the city had a heartbeat. Carl, on the other hand, looked like he was about to throw up. Sam nudged him gently as they stood just inside the doorway of a cozy little venue called the Rattle-In Rail, a bar known for its open mic nights and cold sweet tea on draft. "You okay?" Sam asked. Carl tugged at the hem of his hoodie and nodded, though his face said otherwise. "Yeah, maybe, I think." Sam smiled. "You've been singing your heart out in our apartment for weeks. It's time someone else hears it." Carl looked around at the crowd, small, friendly, mostly locals, and swallowed hard. "I don't know, Sam. These people don't know me." "Exactly, clean slate." The host called the next name. "Carl Clark?" Carl froze. "That's you, man," Sam said, giving him a soft push forward. Carl walked up to the small stage like he was heading into battle. The spotlight hit him as he stood behind the microphone, guitar in hand, eyes scanning the room but not landing on anyone. His fingers trembled slightly on the fretboard. He leaned toward the mic, and for a second, nothing came out. Then he looked down at Sam, who was sitting at a front table, nodding slowly, mouthing the words, "You got this." Carl closed his eyes. He strummed the first chord, shaky but true, and let the words come out. His voice cracked on the first line, but he kept going. His voice was raw, real, full of stories the crowd didn't know, but could somehow still feel. It was a song he and Sam had worked on together, half memory, half dream. Lyrics about basements and stars, about finding your way out and holding on tight when the world tries to drop you. By the second chorus, the bar had quieted. People listened. Carl opened his eyes near the end of the song and met Sam's gaze. Sam's eyes were glassy. The final chord rang out, soft and warm. Silence, then applause. Not just polite clapping, but cheering, whistling. A guy at the bar raised his glass and yelled, "Hell of a voice, kid." Carl stood there, stunned, a smile slowly forming like the sun rising after a storm. He stepped off the stage, guitar in hand, and Sam stood up to hug him. "You killed it," Sam whispered. Carl laughed through a breath he didn't know he was holding. "I didn't even cry." "Well," Sam said, "I almost did." As they left the bar into the Nashville night, Carl looked up at the sky, clear, open, full of promise, and whispered, "I think I want to do that again." Sam grinned. "Good, because I already signed you up for next Friday." To be continued. Chapter 12, Echoes of Applause. The next morning, the sunlight poured into the apartment like melted gold, catching dust motes in the air and casting a glow over the guitars propped by the wall. Carl woke up slowly, blinking into the light, heart still buzzing from the night before. For the first time in years, he'd slept deeply. No nightmares, no cold sweats, just the lingering echo of applause in his ears. Sam was already in the kitchen, frying eggs and humming something Carl had sung last night. Carl shuffled out of his room, hoodie over pajamas, hair sticking out in all directions. "You're chipper." Sam grinned over his shoulder. "I'm proud. You crushed it." Carl sat at the table, rubbing the back of his neck. "I still feel like I dreamed it." "You didn't. You stood up there and told your truth, and they listened. That's real." Carl picked at the edge of his hoodie sleeve, thoughtful. "You think I could actually make music? Like really do this?" Sam slid a plate in front of him. "I know you can. You've got something people feel when they hear you. That's more than most artists ever find." Carl looked up, eyes soft. "You really think I've got a shot?" Sam sat across from him, meeting his gaze. "Not just a shot, Carl. A calling." They ate in comfortable silence for a while, the quiet only broken by the sizzle of the stove and the occasional clink of a fork against the plate. Later that afternoon, they headed back downtown, not for a performance, but to meet someone. A local producer Sam knew from open mics had reached out after last night, curious to hear more. The studio was small but warm, tucked behind a bookstore off a side street in East Nashville. Carl sat behind the mic again, this time with headphones on, while Sam gave him a thumbs up from the booth. He sang one of their original songs, this one about growing up in silence and finally finding his voice. When he finished, the room was still. The producer leaned back in his chair and said, "You've got something rare, Carl. Let's make a demo." Carl blinked, stunned. "Wait, like a real one?" Yeah, the man said with a grin. A real one. As they left the studio, the sky turned soft with early evening light. Carl looked over at Sam, his face glowing with quiet disbelief. I used to think I didn't have a story, he murmured. You do, Sam replied, and now the world's going to hear it. They walked on through the Nashville streets, two brothers, one path, and a song that had only just begun. To be continued. Chapter 13, Becoming a Clark. It was a cloudy afternoon in Nashville, the kind where the sky looked like it hadn't made up its mind. Gray, heavy, but undecided on whether to cry or just hang low. Sam sat on the couch, flipping through some old documents and emails they'd gathered for Carl's demo application, stuff the studio needed for licensing and credits. As he scanned the digital form, something stopped him. Legal name, Carl Fox. Sam blinked. He hadn't heard that name before. Fox. His chest tightened a little. He stood and walked down the hallway to Carl's room, knocking softly on the half-closed door. Hey, got a sec? Carl looked up from his sketch pad, sitting cross-legged on the bed. Yeah, what's up? Sam walked in slowly, holding his phone. I was filling out your info for the studio, and I saw your last name, Fox. Carl nodded slowly, not surprised. Yeah, that's the name I was given after the adoption. Kathy and Larry, our parents, they gave me up, and some other couple named me Carl Fox. Sam sat at the edge of the bed, the silence thick for a beat. I'm sorry, Carl. I didn't know. Carl shrugged, eyes low. They didn't keep me long. I bounced around after that. Foster care, group homes, a few short-term placements. The name stuck, but I never felt like a fox, whatever that's supposed to mean. Sam looked at him, really looked, at the man sitting across from him with the same eyes, the same hands, the same music in his bones. Do you want to change it? Carl hesitated, but only for a moment. Yeah, I don't want to be a fox. I want to be a Clark. Like you. Sam smiled, eyes misting. Then let's make that happen. Carl's voice was small. You really think I deserve it? You're my brother. You've always deserved it. They sat in the quiet for a moment, hearts speaking where words couldn't. Later that week, Sam took Carl to the county clerk's office. They filled out the forms one line at a time. Carl scribbled his new name across the signature line with trembling fingers. Carl James Clark. When it was done, Carl stared at the copy in his hand like it was a key to a future he never thought he could have. I'm a Clark now, he whispered. Sam wrapped his arm around him. You always were. Now the world knows it too. Outside, the clouds finally broke, and the Nashville sky let the light back in. To be continued. Chapter 14, The Letter That Broke the Sky. It was raining gently in Nashville, the kind of soft drizzle that made everything feel quiet and thoughtful. Carl sat at the small desk in his bedroom, a candle flickering beside him, and a wrinkled notebook open in front of him. He gripped his pen tightly, the words pouring out like a storm he'd kept bottled up for years. Dear Kathy and Larry, I don't even know if you remember me. You gave me up before I could say your names, before I could understand what family was. I used to wonder if I did something wrong. Was I too loud, too small, too quiet? Did you see something in me you didn't want? I grew up asking questions no one could answer. I missed birthdays with you. I missed the smell of the house, the comfort of hearing goodnight. I missed you. And now I've met Sam, my twin, my brother. He held on to a life I never got to touch, but he also gave me a chance to begin again. I don't write this to make you feel bad. I just needed you to know. I still wish things had been different. I still cry sometimes. Carl. Carl folded the letter gently and placed it in the drawer. Hours passed. Sam was cleaning the apartment and happened to open the drawer, looking for an extra pen. His eyes landed on the envelope marked "To Kathy and Larry" in Carl's careful handwriting. He read the letter quietly, his hand over his mouth. By the end, he was blinking back tears. He walked into Carl's room and found him lying on his back, staring at the ceiling, headphones in. Sam sat beside him and tapped his shoulder. Carl pulled the headphones off. What's up? Sam held up the letter. I read it. Carl sat up slowly, his shoulders tense. I didn't mean for you to. I just needed to write it. I know, Sam said softly. It's beautiful, Carl. Honest, brave. Carl nodded, eyes low. Do you think they'd care if they read it? Sam took a breath, then gently laid a hand on Carl's shoulder. Carl, Mom, Kathy, she passed away a few years ago. Carl's head jerked up. What? She's gone. Cancer. I found out not long before I moved to L.A. Carl's lips parted. He didn't speak. His eyes filled instantly, and he started to shake. What about Dad? Larry's still alive. He's in Missouri, but I haven't spoken to him in years. Carl looked down, biting his trembling lip. So I'll never get to ask her. Never get to hear why. Sam pulled him into a hug without a word, holding him like he was afraid to let go. Carl cried into his shoulder, loud, aching sobs that filled the room and shook through his bones. You didn't deserve what happened, Sam whispered. You deserved her love. You still do. Carl just cried harder. Outside, the rain turned to a gentle tap on the windows, like the sky itself was mourning along with him. That night, they sat together in silence side by side, with a candle burning low. A letter never mailed, a past never answered, but a future still possible. To be continued. Chapter 15. The Road to El Dorado Springs. The morning light in Nashville filtered softly through the blinds as Sam sat at the kitchen table, his laptop open and a steaming mug of coffee in hand. He had been researching flights from Nashville to Springfield, Missouri, considering the best way to facilitate a meeting between Carl and their estranged father, Larry, who resided in El Dorado Springs. After reviewing several options, Sam found a suitable flight itinerary. Flights from Nashville International Airport, BNA, to Springfield Branson National Airport, SGF, were available, with prices starting around $100 for a one-way ticket. The journey would involve a connecting flight, typically through major hubs like Dallas-Fort Worth or Chicago O'Hare, resulting in a total travel time of approximately 5 to 6 hours. Sam booked the tickets, choosing a departure that allowed them to arrive in Springfield by early afternoon. From there, they planned to rent a car for the roughly 90-minute drive north to El Dorado Springs. Later that day, Sam approached Carl, who was practicing guitar in the living room. Hey, Carl, Sam began. I found a flight that gets us to Springfield by early afternoon. From there, it's about an hour-and-a-half drive to El Dorado Springs. Carl looked up, his fingers pausing on the strings. So it's happening? Sam nodded. Yeah, it's happening. Carl took a deep breath, the weight of the upcoming encounter evident in his eyes. Okay, let's do it. As they finalized their travel plans, both brothers felt a mix of anticipation and apprehension. The journey ahead was not just a physical one, but an emotional passage toward understanding and perhaps reconciliation. To be continued.